there, everybody. It's Mikey Romano, and no, you're not dreaming. We are back with yet another Ecoventure GSO. Today, we're going to be talking about snakes. It's Year of the Snake, and a lot of people don't like these guys, but me, I absolutely love them. So we're going to talk about a bunch of fun stuff, learn some facts, meet some cool kids, and have a fun episode, because you know what? I missed you too. Unfortunately, Crystal Jones isn't here with me today because Starbucks ran out of coffee before she could get enough in her to tolerate me. I'm on my own. You have low standards? Stick with me. All right, so today we're going to talk about a type of animal that takes a lot of abuse, a lot of people don't like, is really maligned in all cultures. And I'm not talking about me trying to get a date. We're going to talk about snakes, okay? Snakes are an integral part of our ecosystem. They are huge on pest control. A lot of people don't like them. They think they're a little creepy. We'll kind of go back and forth. I'm going to teach you a little bit and show you some of my friends. So, I'm going to start out strong. I know not a lot of people like snakes, but if you haven't changed the channel, you're going to try this with me, right? We're going to start out with one of the scariest, most horrible things, and then we'll kind of work our way back. So I'm going to start out strong. You ready? Everybody, this is Orson, okay? Terrifying, right? Orson is what we call a Western hognose snake. He's full size. He's not going to get any bigger than this. He couldn't hurt me if he wanted to. So he is great. I use him for a lot of programs, and a lot of people keep these guys as pets because they're very sweet, very easy. So basic biology. Snakes are reptiles, okay? They have scaly skin, they have no hair. They are what a lot of people call cold-blooded, which means they can't regulate the temperature of their body. So whereas, you know, humans, mammals, birds, that kind of thing, they're warm-blooded. They're always warm on the inside. They generate their own heat. Snakes and other reptiles like turtles, crocodilians, lizards, that kind of thing, are cold-blooded, and they get their heat from the outside. So if it's cold outside, they're cold. They don't want to move very much. If it's warm, they're warm. They're happy to move around. It's a nice temperate day out today. I'm standing in the shade. The sun's a little warmer, of course, but he's feeling good. He wants to check things out, look around, and maybe see if there's some snacks lying around. I don't have any in my pockets, I'm sorry. But the cool thing with hognose snakes, and I got a couple different snakes with different behaviors and adaptations for you. We're going to talk about a lot of their adaptations. Now, Orson's not going to do it because he's not afraid of us. When you have animals as pets and whatnot, and you take care of them, they lose a lot of their natural behaviors because they don't need to display them to protect themselves. But hognose are fun. They're the actors of the snake world. So this guy has no venom, no defense mechanism at all, but Orson, what he does, he pretends to be a venomous snake if a predator tries to eat him. So he's got his cute little face and his kind of a lot of extra skin around his neck. What he'll do, he'll flatten that skin around his neck and raise his head up just like a cobra, and he'll open his mouth and hiss really loudly, and he might even strike, just like he thinks a cobra would look, even though he's never met a cobra. But he's displaying the same behaviors that a potential venomous snake would have, and he's trying to drive a predator off by pretending to be venomous with his behavior. Even when he strikes, he usually strikes with his mouth closed, so it's a little bump. That'll usually drive a predator off, but if it doesn't, he has a backup plan. It's a little silly to us, but not to him. So if the venomous display doesn't work, what he's gonna do is he's going to quit that. He's going to roll over on his back. His tongue is going to stick out. He's going to musk himself, which means this icky, stanky stuff comes out the back end, and it makes the smell kind of gross and dead, and he is going to play dead. And he's not gonna move. And a predator's gonna think that he's dead, he's rotting. Most animals don't wanna eat rotting food. If you flip him on his belly gently, he'll wait a second, and then roll over on his back again, and he's like, nope, still dead. And he will do that until hopefully the predator leaves and he can kind of slither on his way and be safe for another day. So these guys are a lot of fun. They're really cute. They got a little upturned nose right there. They like to push through loose soil and whatnot looking for food. These guys eat small rodents. We have hognose in North Carolina. They're called eastern hognose. They're a little bit bigger, a little bit darker, sometimes different patterns on them. They are strictly toad eaters, so they will actually eat, even the toads that are, the southern toads, the Fowler toads that live around North Carolina, those are toxic for most animals to eat, but hognose can eat them. So eastern hogs exclusively eat amphibians, and mostly toads. These guys are rodent eaters from out west on the other coast. So say hi to Orson, everybody. That's our start, and we're just gonna have more fun from here. All right, guys, so snakes have been on the planet since the time of the dinosaurs. That means they've had a long, long time to adapt tons of different defenses against predators, ways to survive, get food, all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit more. You just met Orson. Orson has that cool behavioral adaptation to pretend he's like a venomous cobra, that kind of thing. This one is more of a visual thing. So what I have here is what's called a Nelson's milk snake. Now, in the animal kingdom, bright colors generally mean no touching. They are dangerous, they're venomous, they're letting everybody know. It's kind of like a billboard that they could hurt you, so leave them alone. In North Carolina, and of course other states, we have something called coral snakes. Pause for plate here. No, just kidding. There's gonna be a picture of one coming up any moment now. Coral snakes live in this state, over by Wilmington, a little small pocket, but up and down the eastern seaboard, you have other areas where coral snakes live. Corals have the beautiful red, yellow, black pattern and are very venomous, okay? This guy looks a lot like a coral snake, but completely harmless. How do you know he's completely harmless? Because I'm holding him. And with city insurance, they would be very, very mad if I was holding a venomous snake free-handed. I like my job. Thank you, city. Anyway, this is a Nelson's milk snake. These guys, other snakes like scarlet king snakes, Arizona mountain king snakes, a lot of different snakes have evolved to look just like coral snakes. So animals in the wild would see them, see the bright colors and think, oh, that's potentially really dangerous. I'm not gonna risk my life for that, for that snack, whatever. They're not gonna risk their life to eat it. Therefore, this guy is safe. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard the little rhyme, and it goes a couple different ways. So, what a lot of people say is, red touches black, see, red touches black, friend of Jack, or venom lack. So if red and black touch, the bands, harmless. Red touches yellow, which they do on a coral snake, you'll see that in the picture. If red touches yellow, kill a fellow. So red touches black, venom lack. Red touches yellow, kill a fellow. So you should never pick up a snake in the wild unless you're absolutely sure you know what it is, or you let your friend hold it first, just in case. But that little rhyme will help you to determine if it's a coral snake and possibly dangerous and venomous, or a perfectly harmless snake doing something called what we call mimicry, which is mimicking or pretending to be a venomous snake. These guys are harmless, they're cute, they're just kind of it's Halloween every day of the year for them because they're pretending to be something they're not. Sound good, guys? All right, time for the next one. All right, so we've been talking about some of the natural adaptations of snakes, but we're gonna take a slight divergence and talk about some of the unnatural or man-made adaptations for snakes. And maybe adaptation's not the right word. So a lot of different snake species are kept as pets. And if you get the right one, they can be amazing pets. I think they're better than mammals sometimes. They only eat once a week, they only poop once a week, they don't make any noise, and if you don't have enough time to walk them or slither them, they don't care. Therefore, better than a dog or cat, and adorabler. But a lot of people are into different reptiles, different snakes, and it's kind of a big business to breed different color patterns on snakes to make them look a little bit different from their natural counterparts. So I'm going to show you something. You ever heard of something called a ball python? They're very cool animals. All right, everybody. This is Isabella, or Izzy, if you're her friend. And she's a ball python. These guys originally come from Africa. They are pretty common in the pet trade. They are excellent pets once you have the proper setup. They need to be kept warm, but she's full size. She can get a little bit bigger, but not much. And she's docile, she's friendly. They're called ball pythons because if she was scared or threatened, they roll up in a tight ball of all their coils with their head in the center to protect it. They usually do this and hide before they get aggressive and bite. So if you are gentle with it, they are very, very gentle with you as well. But they're great animals, very low maintenance, and just really cool to look at. This kind of pattern on them helps them hide in Africa in the grasslands and shadows and rocks and foliage of where they live. And it's kind of like a fingerprint. Nobody has an exact same pattern. So it's really neat. Since they are in the pet industry, a lot of people have taken interest in them and they breed different color patterns for the pet industry because much like you've got designer dogs and cats, sometimes people want designer reptiles. So this is Izzy. She's a nice, natural looking, how they would look in the wild ball python. All right, so let's go to the next one. Which is not that one. Neville. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got Neville. Neville is what's called a blue-eyed leucistic. He's the exact same species as Izzy, but if you look, he is pure white with blue eyes. But they're the exact same snake, just a different color pattern. And people love these guys. He's a very docile snake, just like Izzy. He's still growing, he can get a little bit bigger, of course, but you would not find this in the wild. Whereas this Izzy can fit into the wild a little bit better with camouflage and hiding from predators and being undetected. Do you think this guy would work so well in the wild? Probably not. He would not be able to sneak up on food or whatnot. Plus, every predator in the world would see him and be like, oh, look, Snake McNuggets, nom, 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 and eat him. So if an animal in the wild is born with albinism or another kind of off color pattern, they don't always survive. I've got one more for you, just to round out the trio. So you've got your all white guy, you've got your native girl, and then, just in case you want somebody in the middle, so everybody, this is Cherry. Cherry is a pied ball python. Get the name. And Cherry has some of the natural coloring and a little bit of the white flashing in there. So you've kind of got a little bit of both snakes in there. And these are only 3 color patterns. There are dozens of different color patterns for all kinds of snakes, not just ball pythons. There's lots of pet snakes like corns, kings, larger pythons that have a huge variety of color patterns that people are breeding for the pet industry. So trying to find a natural looking one isn't always the easiest anymore because people like some of their designer stuff. Cool? I think so. All right, guys, so now I'm going to introduce you to one of the more beneficial snakes, period. And good news, they are native to this area, which means they live here. You can see these guys out in the woods, sometimes your yard. They're called Eastern king snakes, and Eastern king snakes are great. King snakes are, as a whole group, are named so because one of their very favorite foods is other snakes, including venomous snakes. So they'll eat pest species like rats and mice and whatnot, but they'll also eat any of the other snakes around your house, including copperheads or, depending on where in the state you live, size appropriate, other venomous, small rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, that kind of thing. So She's not in the best mood. She doesn't like to work. Hi. Everybody, don't do your bratty pants. And she's probably gonna bite me. See how she's wiggling her tail a little bit? They do that in the loose leaf litter and whatnot of the woods to pretend there's a rattlesnake around. But this is Raven. Raven is an eastern king snake. She's checking things out. She's already musked me, which means that stinky stuff that comes out to drive predators away, it's on my hand. Be glad you do not have that kind of TV at your home. So she's really cool. She doesn't get much bigger than this and get about 4 or 5. Don't go down there, honey. There we go. But she's gonna check things out. She's using that tongue for smell. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But eastern king snakes are great. They are not dangerous, they're not harmful. She's in a bad mood, but she's not gonna hurt anybody. But having these around means that you will not have anything venomous or anything else. They can take a hit from a venomous snake and keep going, swallow it down, and there you go. So eastern king snakes are wonderful to have around. They are native, so please do not hurt these. If you see them in your yard or in nature, they are great to have around. There's not a lot, but they're definitely beneficial. So everybody say hi to Raven, who is an eastern king snake. Sound good, everybody? Eastern king snakes, friends. And when she's not in a bad mood, she's very cuddly. All right, guys, it's time for you to meet another one of my friends. This one is non-native. She's what we would call exotic. Exotic means it does not come from Greensboro, North Carolina, and in this case, not even the United States. Her name is Georgia. She's a sweet, adorable, delicate little flower of an angel. Come on, baby. So Georgia here is what's called a boa constrictor. She's also called a Colombian boa constrictor because guess where she's from? You guessed it, South America. Colombia, really, to be specific. She's very, very cool. Females actually get larger than males. They can get up to about 12 feet long, while males usually top around 8. The fun thing with these guys is where a lot of people think that all reptiles lay eggs, not all of them do. Snakes are about kind of a half and half thing. Boas like Georgia actually have live babies, and a big one can have over 30 live baby boas. So the females naturally have to be much larger than the males to do that task. Now, she's also what we call arboreal. Arboreal means that an animal that likes to live in and around the trees. I know it's hard to see, but the tip of her tail is kind of wrapped around my arm. It's a little bit prehensile. Not quite as dexterous as a monkey tail, but a little close. They use it as an anchor. They'll wrap it around branches and whatnot else to hold on in case they lose balance or fall. That'll kind of anchor them so they don't drop. They like to be up in the trees in South America looking for food. They would love to find birds, rats, monkeys, that kind of thing to eat. Now these guys are really cool. She can get a little bit larger than this, of course. And while I have her up here, it's a little easier to do weight distribution. Remember, unless this is your animal or you know this animal very, very well, never put a snake or especially a larger constrictor like this around your neck. George and I have been doing programs for a long time. I trust her and I can feel, you know, her moods and you know, if anything's gonna happen. So we're good right now. Kind of one of those, don't do this at home. But she's checking things out. We're outside, it's a nice day. She's seeing if, you know, there's any predators around. She's seeing if there's any food around, just seeing what's going on. So the big thing with snakes, they usually live, you know, kind of either on the ground or in a tree or whatnot. But while they can see pretty well, they don't really rely on eyesight as their primary mode of sensory information. They use smell. And here's the fun thing. A good chunk of their smell comes from their tongue. Where's your head, babes? She's somewhere in there. So if you see her, she's probably flicking her tongue as she's moving. She's getting all the sensory information she can on that tongue. So that tongue flicks out. It gets all the sensory information like, oh, that's Mikey, I'm used to him. Oh, there's no yummy, delicious squirrels around. There's no predators, that kind of thing. When it slides back into the mouth, all those basically little notes of scent slide into the little slots in the roof. There's something there called the vomeronasal organ, or more commonly called the Jacobson's organ. And when the forked tongue slides into those pits, it's letting her know what's going on, where things are, food, predators, that kind of thing. Everybody asks why she's got a forked tongue. All snakes have a forked tongue. Think about it this way. You're using your tongue for navigation, for scent, for smell. If you smell a yummy, delicious rat a little bit more on the right side than the left, which way are you gonna go? You're going that way. They use that tongue for steering. So snakes actually smell really, really well with their tongue. Most of their nostrils is just for breathing, okay? Now, here's the fun thing. Here, babes. She is a pretty large snake, right? Am I ever worried that she's going to try and eat me? No, no. For one thing, I'm Italian. I am full of cholesterol. So she's a little more health conscious than that. But secondly, while a snake can swallow something 5 times the size of its head, we'll talk about that, I'm way too big. I'm what we call chunky. Therefore, I'm not worried about her eating me. She can't swallow me. Snakes' teeth are hooked backwards like fish hooks, so they can lash into their food and hold on. The best way off snakes' teeth is down the throat, but their teeth are not made for ripping or tearing. She can't take bites of her food. So while she could bite me if she was scared or I was hurting her, she can't take off a finger or a hand. So she would have to eat me whole. And even though she might be able to hurt me, she can't get her mouth past my head or my shoulders. Therefore, I am very safe. I'm not gonna be a food item. We're friends forever, so it's all good. So this is Georgia. She is a gorgeous lady. If you look at the back end of her, her pattern kind of changes. That's to help with camouflage. In the rainforest, predators and other animals can't see just how big she is with that pattern change, so they might not want to attack her because she could turn the tables on them. So it kind of helps her stay safe in an area with a lot of big predators. But she is a wonderful, wonderful girl. These guys are also sold in the pet industry, but not everybody can handle a snake this big. So if you're thinking about a snake as a companion animal, you might want to start a little smaller until you really know what you're getting into and are ready for something that can still get about 3 or 4 feet bigger than her. Just a suggestion on that one. But if you're ready and you've done this for a while, these guys are wonderful, wonderful animals, and they have incredible personalities. And I love using them for education because, like I said before, better than a mammal. All right, guys, so no snake program would be complete without talking about potentially dangerous snakes, of which my little girl Striker here is not one of them. She is a northern pine snake. She's actually the largest non-venomous native snake in North Carolina. These guys are actually protected, so we actually have a permit to keep her. But she's a wonderful snake, but absolutely harmless. And I mean, unless you don't count her killer good looks. But wanted to talk about the whole dangerous snake thing. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard the term a poisonous snake. Here's the fun part. They don't really exist, okay? The term poisonous snake isn't a real thing. It's all in the manner of how they get their toxin into you. Snakes can be venomous, but they're not poisonous. So think about it this way. If a snake, like a rattlesnake or a cobra, if it was scared or upset with you, what's it gonna do? It's going to inject its venom by biting you, okay? If it bites you and injects that venom, it's venomous. This also counts for like scorpions, bees, like stings and whatnot. So anytime you get a toxin injected, venomous. Poisonous. Poisonous is a different matter. If you touch something like poison ivy and get sick, poisonous. if you eat something and get sick. My sister's cooking, poisonous, okay? Therefore, touch it or eat it, poisonous. Injected by bites and stings, venomous. So snakes that bite and inject can be venomous, but they're not poisonous. The only muck up to this rule is something called the tiger keelback snake over in Southeast Asia, which are both venomous and poisonous. So if you're in Southeast Asia in the jungles and you find a tiger keelback snake, don't eat it. Other than that, when you're talking about snakes in North Carolina or the US and whatnot, there's no poisonous snakes, but they can be venomous. The fun thing is, Striker's not dangerous at all. She's very sweet. But I did want to talk about some of the rules people have with snakes. And I know a lot of you guys have probably heard these. Most of these don't really work. So one of the first ones is if it has a triangular shaped head, it's a venomous snake. And while pit vipers like rattlesnakes and copperheads and cottonmouths do have a triangular shaped head, some snakes like water snakes and even Striker to a little point here has a bit of a blocky triangular shaped head. She's not venomous. That rule doesn't really work. Plus, if you're over in Wilmington and you find a coral snakes have a nice dull cylindrical head and they're more venomous than any of the other snakes in this state. So the triangle shaped head, that rule doesn't work. My other personal favorite rule, when I say these is, quotation marks rules, people say to look at their pupils, okay? If a snake's pupil goes up and down, elliptical, like a cat's eye, it's venomous. If it's round, it's not venomous. So, do me a favor and look at Striker. She's not a little snake, right? She's a good sized snake. She's bigger than most of the stuff you're gonna find in this state. Look at her eyes. Are they very big? Especially if I don't know this snake, to look at her pupil, I would need to be here. Hi, baby. Now, this is a very bad idea. If you didn't, we're friends, so it's okay. She's my girl. But a wild snake, you're gonna get bitten in the face either way. A venomous wild snake, you're gonna get bitten in the face and have to go to the hospital. Don't put your face next to a snake and check their pupils. Plus, the rule doesn't work, so as long as you survive, which I hope you do, everyone's gonna laugh at you. So, just letting you know, the main rule, the only rule that you guys can go with to check if a snake is venomous or not is to know your species. Know what's out there. If you're not sure, don't approach it, don't mess with it. Here's the fun thing. So a little bit of stats for you. The great majority of snake bites, I'm gonna go with more than 2/3 of snake bites occur on someone's, basically their upper torso, arms, and face. Now, snakes are not the tallest animals. So to get bitten up here, what do you think the person's doing? They are leaning down to hurt the snake, mess with the snake, basically muck with it. Now, don't do that, because the snake will strike upwards and hit you, and you can get envenomated if it's a venomous snake. It's better to let them go on their way. Don't try to kill them. Don't try to harass them. Just leave them be. They're actually really beneficial for the environment. They eat all the rats and mice and other pest species that we don't want around. They're absolutely integral to the ecosystem. They're not out to get you. They don't want to hurt you. They just want to do their own thing and be left alone. If you see one in your yard, you might not like it there. If you really need it gone, please call someone who can remove it. Don't try to hurt it yourself or kill it. We need these guys, and their numbers are getting rarer. Especially if it's a possibly venomous species, you might injure yourself before the snake. So keep yourselves safe, keep the snakes safe, and what did Jerry Springer used to say? Take care of yourselves and each other. All right, everybody, so another really, really cool thing about snakes, much like all animals, they shed. As you're watching this, you are currently shedding your skin too. But the thing with snakes, they do it all at once. While we're dropping little skin bits and little hair bits everywhere we go, there's a little trail of, Billy, Susie, and now Mikey, everywhere, snakes shed all at once. And it's really neat. They will actually kind of get a little dusky, you get a little little gray, and that's their old skin separating from their new skin. They'll rub their nose when they're ready to kind of break it, and then it'll peel back over their head and over their body, and they'll kind of push it off, and it'll basically shed all the way out. Kind of like when you, end of the day, when you've been exercising, you pull out that old gym sock, and you toss it. So they will basically shed their entire skin all at once. And they do this as they're growing. The faster they're growing, the more they're shedding. Babies that are growing pretty quickly will shed every week or two sometimes. Adults, like some of the ones you've seen and that you're about to, shed maybe once every month to 2 months. But on the shedding thing, here's the fun thing. I want to give you one of those words of caution, because I try to give good advice and be a role model. Never get into a staring contest with a snake. You will lose. And do we know why? They have no eyelids, they can't blink. Snakes have a scale over their eye. It's basically like a contact lens, okay? So when they are shedding, their eyes kind of go gray because there's a little bit of fluid separating the old scale from the new one. They can't see for a few days while they're about to shed. But when they start breaking that skin and peeling it off, that scale comes out. And we can do a zoom in, but I've got a shed here with the eye scales right there on it. And they get basically a brand new contact lens scale when they shed their skin. It's all fresh, it's all clear, and then they're on their way. So it's really, really neat. And as soon as Josh is done with getting the zoom in, I can move now. Okay, great, thank you. I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna introduce you to somebody called Reggie. Reggie's maybe the biggest one we've seen so far. He's a very cool boy. Hi, buddy. Hi, good boy. Now, Reggie was shedding and unfortunately got a little messed up, so he's still shedding. It didn't come all off in one piece, but sometimes they have a little bit more to go. So you can see it comes right off. So what he'll do if this gets a little shredded and doesn't come off in one piece, he'll basically be in the wild or in his enclosure, but in the wild, he'll just rub on rocks and sticks and plants and basically the ground, and it'll basically just get it all off and get him nice and clean. Although, if they're a pet and they live in captivity, we do something called tub time, where he gets a nice soak and plays in the shower, and then it comes off too. And then I pay the plumber if any of it goes down because it's gonna block it. Now, Reggie is very cool. He's what we call a Burmese python. Burmese pythons right now they were very popular in the pet industry for a while. They get very large. This is the 4th largest snake on the planet. Females can get up to about 20 feet long. Males are about 12 to 15. Big snake, if you raise it and socialize it, they're very, very, hi buddy. They're very, very docile, great animals. Problem is, a lot of people will get these guys, they get big. Most people can't handle a snake this big in their house. So they don't want them. They try to give them away, they try to give them to zoos, pet stores. Everybody's kind of full. What happened is this is the species that's now in Florida being a big problem, and they're what we call an invasive species because people didn't want them, couldn't keep them, and nobody could take them, so people were releasing them to the wild. People think that sometimes if they can't keep an animal, it's better off being in the wild. Now, this species is from Southeast Asia. They are not from the United States, they're not from Florida, so even though they can survive there, they really shouldn't be there. Releasing a pet into the wild is basically, generally speaking, a slow, painful death for an animal that's not equipped to be there. If it's not, unfortunately, while I would never want anything bad to happen to an animal, if they can survive there, there's no natural predators. They can take over, they can be a big problem. We have that problem here in North Carolina with red-eared slider turtles out-competing our native turtles because people have put them in the lakes and the ponds, and they can survive very well here, and they should not. The Burmese pythons in Florida are all over South Florida, the Everglades, eating all the mammals, the birds, even alligators. They're a big problem, so there ought to regulations to be put into place to regulate different kinds of exotic pets because of mismanagement. But Reggie here is really cool. I wanted to talk about him because he's a big snake. I know we talked about Georgia a little bit, about worrying about her trying to swallow me. She's not going to. Neither is Reggie. Now, here's the fun thing. Snakes can swallow something 5 times the size of their head. Now you wouldn't really think about that looking at his face, okay? His face is not the biggest thing, doesn't look super huge, but what they do, he is not venomous. He's what we call a constrictor. He grabs his food and he wraps around it. He wraps around his food. He gets frozen thawed food, it's not alive, but in the wild he'd grab a live animal, wrap around it, and he'd squeeze. And every time that animal breathes out, he'd get tighter and tighter. It can't breathe in, and in a few minutes, he can feel that heartbeat in his coils slow down and stop when that animal expires. He waits a few minutes more just to make sure it's gone because he doesn't want to lose his lunch. He'll uncoil, and then once that animal is dead, he'll sniff around, and usually they go head first because if you swallow an animal head first, all the fur, feathers, claws, whatever go against the body. If you go from the bum end at first, everything stands up and it's going to give you some indigestion. Okay, so you go head first and he swallows it. Now, here's the fun part. People have heard or said, if you've ever heard this, that snakes can dislocate their jaw. They cannot dislocate, but they can stretch. So here's the fun thing. If you're at home and you want to play along, open your mouth as far as you can without hurting yourself. Much like the king snake musky before, I'm glad that I can't smell on this side of the thing because I'm sure some of you didn't brush your teeth. But your mouth can only open about that far. Reggie's mouth can open almost straight up and down without dislocating. His bottom jaw will spread like a platter. So instead of one piece like yours, it spreads, okay? And the skin around his face, while it looks tight, it's very, very elastic. Think of the band on your underpants after you go to cookout, okay? Stretches really far, and he can stretch that around a big food item like a very large rat or a bigger rodent or, you know, something like that. I would normally make a, you know, small dog joke here that, you know, but we're gonna leave that out for right now. Anyway, but he can swallow like say a big rat or something like that, much larger than his head. And there's extra teeth in the roof of his mouth where there's none in yours. He has extra teeth in the roof of his mouth, and he actually uses those to kind of hold on, grip the food, and kind of pull it in a little bit. And because they don't have any arms or claws to jam it in like I do with, you know, Italian food, you know. So they get those teeth in, they kind of pull it in and kind of push it in with their coils until the throat muscles get it, and then they kind of keep working it, and it can take a little while for us to swallow that food. But once it goes down, you're gonna start to see the lump moving, and then he is good for a while. They don't eat much. These guys eat a lot less than anything warm-blooded because they don't have to keep up their body heat. So he'll eat something, and then he'll go and he'll take it easy somewhere and hide and relax and digest. It takes him about 5 to 7 days to digest a good meal. So he only eats, say, once a week. A healthy snake can go months without eating. I don't recommend that if they're your pet, but they could in the wild if they needed to. The fun thing is, they eat once a week. You know what else they only do once a week? That's right, the other end. They eat once a week, takes about a week to digest, and then they poop, and then they're hungry again. So it's a pretty nice cycle. So they eat, sleep for about a week, take it easy, and then they poop, then they're ready to eat again. Unfortunately, I have asked the city of Greensboro. They do not have a position like that for me yet, but I'm still working on it. But basically, that's kind of how they eat. But once again, I'm too big for Reggie. He's a big boy, but I am not a food item because I don't, you know, he can't take chunks out of me. But he's very cool. Hi, buddy, I love you too. But I just wanted to talk about Reggie. He's a great snake, but once again, in the pet industry, you really want to think about what you might be bringing home because they can turn into a bit of a problem if you're not ready for a very, very large animal who can be expensive to feed depending on their size and whatnot. So thanks very much, guys, and that's this guy. So everybody, thank you very, very much for coming on this little educational journey with me. If you were not a snake fan before, I appreciate you sticking with us and kind of hanging out for the adventure, and hope I didn't traumatize you too much. I know we talked about a lot of stuff, but this is barely scratching the surface. I could talk for hours about snakes and we would still not get there. So there's always education programs, online. If this interested you, please keep learning because I don't think they're gonna fund me to keep talking for hours and nobody wants to watch me for that long. Sorry, I'm not better looking. Anyway, on that, I appreciate you guys coming, meeting some of the snakes, talking about them. They are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful family of animals to have around. Even if you're not a big fan, just remember they are a huge part of our ecology and we need them. So you don't have to like them if it's not your forte, but you know, hopefully we can all coexist and live with them and they'll leave us alone if we leave them alone. Some of the ones I've introduced to you, they are pets. They give great hugs, but I don't recommend hugging one if you don't know it personally. I know we're in Year of the Snake. Have a great rest of your Year of the Snake and can continue on with your knowledge. It was great playing with you. I'm Mikey Romano, this is Ecoventure, and I will see you in the next episode.